Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today I am attempting to answer a question a lot of us have definitely had bouncing around in our minds the past couple of weeks, and that is just what the hell is going on with the player base at the moment. What do I mean? Well, if you pay attention to the background matches, and I'm probably going to roll 2 or 3 of them by you in this video, the matches, seemingly so for the past couple of weeks, have been absolutely abysmal. More so than they normally are, because in many an online game, you're going to have matches that are pretty one-sided, and they're not going to be overly rare. Why? Because that's just the nature of playing with a bunch of random players online. I mean, I can remember vividly in, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, when I was playing the crap out of those games back in high school. You'd be stuck on Operation Metro, you'd be stuck at spawn because one side was just absolutely rolling the other side. So, it's not exactly a uniquely Warships problem, but it does seem to have gotten way worse here in the recent weeks. I mean, the matches that we'll be playing in the background, most of them are pretty much over by like the 4 or 5 minute mark. Like 4 or 5 minutes into the game, the match is pretty much already decided because half of the enemy team's already sunk. Which is insane if you think about it, because in most games, nothing really happens in the first 2 minutes because ships are at spawn. They gotta get to where they're in range or, in front of the enemy ships. Even if you have like CV, sure, you might get spotted and have a couple of early cross-map salvos, but unless you're Chris Kyle, you're typically not landing those shots, right? So the action doesn't really start to like the 2 minute mark. But by the time we get to the 5 minute mark, which is a mere 3 minutes later, again, these matches seemingly have already been decided. You have one team that's half their ships are sunk, they've got 2 or 3 of the caps already, and they're just absolutely rolling over the other side, and it ends. Like, to give you guys an idea of how bad this has gotten for me recently, I've had this morning when I was just playing, I'm playing my Conqueror. I'm trying to do the incapacitation mission for the dockyard. Conqueror H is wonderful for that. Just find someone that has torpedo tubes on their deck, like German ships, spam them with HE, and you'll get like 2 or 3 incapacitation ribbons of salvo. It's beautiful, and I've been on the receiving end of that, right, playing all my German ships. But anyway, so yeah, I've been playing Conqueror, doing that. And in like the 6 or 7 games I've just played so far this morning, before I sat down and make this video, I've had 3 matches, guys, that have been zeros. Like, we have zeroed out the enemy team, or we have been zeroed out. That's impressively bad. And what I mean by zeroed out? Well, if you've never noticed, when your team loses a ship, points are deducted from your team's score. If you lose enough ships fast enough and don't cap the caps or sink enough enemy ships, you get zeroed out and the match ends. Zeroed out matches are not overly rare, but they tend to not happen too much, because typically, you'll sink a ship, the enemy team will sink a ship, or you'll grab a couple of caps, the enemy team may not, so there's a bit of healthy back and forth in the score. I mean, even in some of the replays that we've watched where we've had these amazing come-from-behind matches, the team managed to last long enough to not get zeroed out in the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of the game. But I've had 3 of them this morning. That's pretty bad. And I'm playing in the morning, tends to be when the more dedicated fan base plays. So what is going on? Well, we have a couple of things that I believe are affecting the player base at the moment. I'm not saying this is the definitive answer, but just to kind of share my thoughts and see what you guys have to think about it. First off, we had what they call it, the Voyage to the North Pole event, where if you just completed that series of missions, you got to pick a free Tier 10 tech line ship. Literally, a free Tier 10 tech line ship. Between, like, what was some of the offerings? The Schlieffen, the Shimakaze, I think the Zal was in there, and I think there was like 6 or 7 other ones. The Balau was another one offered up. That's literally handing somebody a free Tier 10 ship and saying, alright, here you go. Have fun. With no prior experience. Like, even if you are a more veteran player and you've had time in the game, if I hand you a tier 10 ship that you've never played before, you never touched the line, you never played anything that's kind of adjacent to it, you're not going to do well on that ship. I could have picked a Shimakaze, and I would have been absolutely crap in it. Why? I don't have no experience with torpedo boats. I've just barely started touching them right now. That sounds really weird saying that out loud. But yeah, I'm just now getting into torpedo destroyers. So if I go and play a Shimakaze, I'm not going to know what to do. I'm not going to know how to build it, how to, go to, what flank, look for this, look for that. Launch the torpedoes in this manner, use the right torpedoes, right? I don't know anything about the Shimakaze or the Shimakaze line. So if I pick that and I go play that, I'm going to be terrible at it. And Wargaming just gave away, again, not just the Shimakaze and the Schlieffen and the Blau, but several other tier 10s that you could have just picked and gone into the match. Which would explain why I saw a Shimakaze trying to outgun a Libertad earlier in the morning, which was entertaining. The Shimakaze didn't live for too long. Yeah, he was trying to outgun the Libertad from within the Libertad's secondary range, although I guess 15 kilometers is the Libertad's secondary range, so that's kind of all the Shimakaze's main battery gun range. But yeah, that happened. So that's definitely one factor I believe that's leading to these quicker than average matches. Another factor is that, well, we do have the Snowflake event going on right now. That's drawing a lot more players into the game. A lot of players that are the more casual, Warships players. They kind of, they go to work. They work all day. They hop on. They play 2 or 3 rounds of Explodey Pixel boats, and then they hop off, right? But now, a lot of those people probably have more time off from work because it's the holidays. They're home. They're playing the game more. So they're more of the casual player, right? That don't really know exactly what's going on as far as like the meta goes, or what are the best quote unquote ships in the game at this moment, and they're not up to date with the game is what I'm saying, and they're not, again, the most experienced players. They're just the guys that hop on, play a couple rounds, and hop off, but they're playing a lot more right now because of the holiday events that we have going on in game. I mean, myself, I'm playing more because I'm off from work and I'm grinding up the dockyard, as well as finishing. Well, I've actually collected all of my festive rewards at this moment. But yeah, so you've got more of the casual player base on right now. You've got Wargaming just giving away all these tier 10 tech line ships. And then also think about, of course, with the festive event, kind of goes hand in hand with it, a ton of players are getting these ships in Santa containers that they have no idea how to play. So they're getting these premium ships that they're not picking, they're just getting a random ship in a container, and they're taking them into game and trying to figure out how to get them to work. And even the most experienced player, they're going to need, more than a handful of matches with a ship to really get a feel for it, figure out how it works. They're going to talk to their buddies, be like, hey, I got this build on this ship, is that right? Or should I try this? Well, let me try that, So you've got a lot of that going on right now, and that's all compiled into this one time of the year. This is actually the most active time in the game at the moment. I'm sitting in port, looking at the population for the North American server, and at 9 o'clock in the morning on a random Friday during the holidays, we already have 7,300 people on the North American server, which is pretty dang good. 37,000 players on worldwide at this moment, again 9 o'clock U.S. Central Time on Friday the 27th of December. So you've got a lot of players online right now. A lot of them have gotten free tier 10 ships from this recent Voyage to the North Pole event. A lot of them are getting new premium ships they don't really know how to play, and you're throwing that all into the mix right now. So that's probably what's leading to these not so overly fantastic games at the moment. I don't think there's some grand conspiracy theory right now. Like Wargaming's not pulling any levers behind the scenes just to give you a shitty game in your favorite tier 10 ship. If there were, I would like them to pull the levers to let me finish my grind in the Conqueror so I can stop playing it, because I hate HE spammy battleships. But it's the best way to get the incapacitation ribbons right now. It's probably as simple as that. And to those that think that wargaming's like, somehow manipulating things, if I was them, I would probably manipulate it to where everyone's having a good time, because, like, customer satisfaction, that tends to be what brings people back. Although I guess since we've all been here for multiple years, we're kind of just used to the torture at the moment, if you will. But yeah, that's probably what's going on, well, at least in my opinion. Again, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I mean, it is a group of 24 random players that's just tossed together. Everyone's getting new ships. They don't know how to play them. The high tier meta is already not overly fantastic at at the beginning of the year, let alone at the end of the year. And then of course, you throw in the Shinano and the Archerfish. Those two ships are pretty friggin' cracked at the moment. The ability to just citadel somebody for 20k with 3 of your skip bombs with a Shinano is just kind of dumb, and that's pretty fun to play against. But yeah, you got all that going on right now, so that's just what I believe is happening in the higher tier meta at the moment, if you will. If you have any other theories, feel free to share them in the comments down below. So, other than that, I hope you guys are having a much better time with your matches than I. Hope you're having a better time getting through your Njord dockyard grind. Has been too bad for me at the moment. Like I said, I am using my Conqueror to get my way through these incapacitation ribbons. I'm having an alright time with that, but let me go ahead and get back to it. Hope you guys have a great Saturday and wonderful rest of the weekend. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.